All right. Cool. Welcome to the Culture Personality
Yes, sir.
Podcast, hosted by yours truly, Mikeymcchoppa. I think this is season 2, episode 11. And with me today is the Traumster.
Hey,
How's it going?
I'm doing good, bro. Just chilling. How you feeling?
I'm feeling as good as ever, chilling, just trying to get episodes out the way. Might be starting work soon, so now I gotta really stack up on episodes and shit, like actually having the shit set
All
up,
right, yeah.
having a
No, I think I
regime.
find that balance.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, yeah, but everything's overall good. Very excited to have you on. I mean to approach you, but I had a bunch of other guests that I told I was gonna do episodes with, and I had gotten sick, and it just created a giant mess of a schedule. But
Nah, I
we're
feel you, bro. I appreciate you having me.
yes, sir. But we're here.
Yes, sir.
But no, yeah. Oh shit, this is sliding off. There we go. But no,
Tip.
yeah. Overall, just chilling, and we're gonna have a great episode because you're a fucking very intriguing individual from what I followed. I mean, I followed you for about a couple months now, I think, since July, if I'm being real.
Yeah, around there, yeah.
So between then and now, you've done a lot. But overall, we won't jump ahead of ourselves, and we'll start with the first question, which is the same for everybody, which is the Traumster, the name, the image, the aura, and the energy. How did it start? How did it get here? And everything in between.
All right, so I initially started rapping about like a little under a decade ago. Like the first original artist name I went under was J Trauma. I got it from my first letter of my government name begins with a J, and I got the trauma because after I was like skateboarding back in the day, and I was crossing the street to go to my homie's crib, and I got hit by a fucking car.
Oh
So I
shit.
wound up breaking my ankle was broken in like 5 places, and I had a concussion and all that. So yeah, like traumatic injury, traumatic experience. So I just kind of got the name from there because I was just bored in my room and I just started freestyling on beats and shit afterwards and like during my recovery process and all that.
Right.
But yeah, so like years went on, dropped hella mixtapes, hella songs, videos, all that, and I dropped an album in I believe 2017 or 2018 called Traumster. And the concept of that is like I'm a lifelong pro wrestling fan, been a pro wrestling fan since I was like probably 3, 4 years old. So I just kind of like took like the word trauma and I put the stir at the end, like on like some
Hulkster.
wrestler type shit. I can't lie. Like the Hulkster, exactly. That's pretty much where I got it from. But
Yeah.
as years went on, a few more years went by, I just noticed like the type of energy that I was portraying, like as far as like I guess you could call it an image and like my music and all that goes, like the energy just really started like just picking up. Like I really just started picking up the pace with everything. So I just kind of figured like everybody was calling me Traumster anyway. I had changed my username to Traumster and all that. So I'm like out with the old and with the new. Like I'm coming with like a whole different level of energy and all that stuff now. So I just decided to incorporate all that. And like now, like it just all makes more sense to me. If you like get what I'm saying, you feel me?
Right. But yeah, I think it's definitely I think it even has a catch to it, the Traumster compared to J Trauma. So it was definitely a good
I mean,
change to make.
shit, I got Traumster tatted on my stomach. I might as well run with it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Really just go that extra mile and just make it the whole brand. Oh yeah, and definitely makes you stand out. I
Exactly.
mean, especially if you're taking it from a pro wrestling influence, I think it's supposed to captivate people or captivate an audience. So yeah, no,
Exactly. Yeah. It's like the whole idea of it. Yeah. Just
definitely
all
a
about
dope
that
change.
raw energy to me. You feel me? Hell
Yeah.
yeah. Just thought it was crucial.
So more so into the origins, you said in the beginning of the decade. Well, not this decade because we're in the 20s now, but the begin. When did you exactly start?
Um, I started rapping towards like the end of 2013. It's been like almost 10 years.
Really?
I started like rapping on like I didn't even know what I was doing. I was like recording like vocal stems on like a Windows Movie Maker program and like lining it up with a beat, doing it off like my laptop mic. Then I had like a Rock Band mic from like the Rock Band games back in the day.
Yeah.
I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. I was just kind of running with it, having fun,
Right.
just like rapping shitty freestyles over like old Eye Future beats and shit like that.
No, yeah, that's fucking hilarious. I mean, that's exactly when I was doing music once upon a time. That was me trying to figure it out, with fucking iPad Garage Van and using the fucking mic of the tablet and shit. It was, so
Uh, Man, the
Oh
garage
shit.
band. Nah, I feel yeah.
This might be an important call. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, man. Do you think?
Oh no, it's not an important call at all. Never mind. Here I am thinking I've been waiting on a call for my fucking like district manager. Again, I'm starting a new job soon. And I thought that was it, and it wasn't. So it just got me on a completely whole like paranoia for no reason. And now my camera won't focus. So let's
We
see.
anticipating the big DM call. I feel you.
Yeah. Can it focus? Hold on. Oh, intermission. Ooh. Hopefully now it focuses. There we go. Oh yeah.
Word.
So I wanted to ask, when it came to being J Trauma and before you made the switch to the Traumster, I wanted to ask if you really built like sort of a fan base with that previous alias before the album in 2018, 2017.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're dealing with an audio problem. I don't know if it oh maybe I'm bugging. Oh,
We good now?
yes.
You hear
Yeah, we're
me?
good. Yep.
Okay, bet.
But continue on what you were saying.
My fault about that.
It's all good.
But yeah, basically, I don't know. I was just like, yeah, I'd already built up a name for myself with the OG name and stuff like that. But like I said previously, like out with the old and with the new one, I knew like all the OG, the real like diehard supporters and all that, they would understand and just like wouldn't take it with a grain of salt. You feel me? Like they would like definitely be there to like just see what I was about to do next on my new journey and shit like that. You feel me?
Right.
Because I just kind
Right.
of considered it like almost like a fresh start for me. Just like really like once I had the name change, like I figured out what I really wanted to do, look like my sound and my image. So I just like started pushing that full fledged, and
Right.
everything's pretty much kind of just fallen into place since then.
No, yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's cool that that diehard, like the little diehard demographic that you've had built up then, could understand and go with you through this like transformation of sorts, or however you want to call it. But that's very cool. I always like to talk about stuff like that because with interviews like these, like like the more we progress as artists and stuff like that, these become like rare cryptic interviews, and you find out shit that you probably won't find out in like 5 years' times and stuff like that. So definitely pretty cool.
Yeah, 100%, no doubt, no doubt.
But usually second question we move on to is more so musical inspirations, people you listen to, people you've collaborated with, people who've artistically brought you to where you are today and made you want to like sit down and really think like, yo, I want to do this music shit.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up listening to like a lot of different stuff. I mean, I was always predominantly into like hip hop, rap music, and a lot of like metal, new metal, like emo music type shit like that. One of my biggest inspirations all time, Lil B, the bass guy, just like really like helped me push that agenda, just like keep that consistency going, just like unapologetically be yourself and all that. Like I feel like that's what he's always stood for.
Right.
I was heavily in I was in a Waka Flocka Flame. Like Waka Flocka Flame's like a big inspiration on my ad libs. Um
No,
Old school rappers too. I'm like heavily inspired by like Big Pun. I was like early Eminem, shit like that.
right.
And as far as like bands go, I took like a lot of inspiration from like Under Oath, especially like started like getting nice with the vocals, like my high pitched singing stuff. I feel like I enjoy singing a little bit more than I enjoy rapping now. So I took inspiration from like a lot of the bands that I grew up listening to, like Under Oath. Shit, who else? I was big on like a lot of emo bands like Alicena. I like Big System of a Down, Slipknot guy. And just like my friends in general inspired me too, bro. Like I used to work a lot back in the day with Medicine Man and MK Ultra from Spider Gang. Still talk to them here and there. They're big inspirations to me. And just like working with Phony Wallace, he lives like 15 minutes away from me. So he really inspired me as well to just like get that level of consistency going, just like keep pushing no matter what. You feel me?
Right.
So just inspired by like all the music I grew up on, just like being inspired by like my friends and shit as well.
Oh yeah. That's awesome. That's great. I'm glad that we touched on different things of variety, people local and people, that are bigger and stuff like that. No, yeah,
Yeah,
overall, I think it's good to have, I think, variety with your influences because, or to have variety in general with music because it gives you a higher advantage, a better advantage than someone who only listens to one thing and makes one thing and doesn't have any insight on any other demographic and shit like that.
exactly. Like it's always good to have like a big variety of like types of music that you into. So that way, like not only just like a listener's aspect aspect, like it don't get redundant, but just from like a creative aspect as well. Like don't want to be redundant. You feel me?
Right.
So like I've always tried to just like look at it from that aspect.
Exactly. Yeah, no, exactly. Um, which also made me want to touch on something that I was curious about when it comes to your relationship with Phony Wallace. I mean, I follow you more than I even follow him. I see his stuff around through other people, and I was like, okay, so this guy gets, he's around here in the scene and stuff like that. So I was just curious about that.
So I met Phony Wallace like a few years ago. I was hanging out with a bunch of people back in the day, and we were all just like going through beats in our emails. And I remember like somebody told me like, "Yo, Phony Wallace, you gotta check him out." Blah blah blah. So I'm like, all right, word. Like I go open my email later in the day, and lo and behold, there's like 15 Phony Wallace beats in my email. And like this is when like back in the day, like I have a new email in my bio now for musical stuff, but I had like an old email in my bio back in the day, and like all the beats that people were sending me were trash. So like hearing like the first Phony Wallace beats I ever heard was like a breath of fresh air. It was just something I could really vibe to. So I just hopped on a couple, and then like I started chopping it up with him. Lo and behold, he lives like fucking 15 minutes away from me. I'm like, oh shit, we gotta link up. So like later in the next week, we linked up, and like everything's just been a wrap since then. I met Otto XL through him too. Otto XL is Phony Wallace's older brother. And pretty much like all the people that I collaborate with frequently, like I all just met through like hanging out around them and shit.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's really fucking dope. I mean,
So
I was
that's how
just
that all went into play.
yeah.
It's a small
Um,
world, man. It's crazy.
no, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's funny that you even mentioned Small World because I know recently Phony Wallace put out some sort of a album or project of sorts.
Big fat phony, yes sir.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I see you're on it, and I've
album of
seen
the year.
yeah, I see you're on it, and I saw other couple names, but it's funny that you say Small World because I think he collaborated with someone, and I don't talk to them anymore. I haven't spoken to him in years, but Chris Too Easy. I went to high school with him, and I live all the way over in like Orange County, which is like probably an hour, 2 hours from anywhere near Long Island in New York
That's
City.
up. That's upstate if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. Nah, Chris Weezy's made cool. I did a song with him back in the day. He's good people. Shouts out to him. I met him in person for the first time last year at a show we did in Brooklyn. He's good people. Very
yes.
talented.
So it's funny that you mentioned Small World because I'm like, it really is a small world. I saw it the other day, and I was like, wow, I remember when he had like just started type shit. So it's
Yeah,
good.
facts.
Yeah, it's good to
It's
see
lit as
everyone
hell.
fucking progressing and everyone collaborating and networking and shit like that. So that was really cool.
100%. Nah, I always love to see that.
No, yeah. But so also by the way, like just in case like I'm here like being not redundant or anything, but like you're just stuck. This is all off the dome. I don't have a script to any of this shit, so this is just me like chilling and shit like that.
You're chilling, bro. It's a vibe.
No, yeah. But what was I gonna ask? Moving away from that, and so I wanted to ask about something, and maybe my memory's shot, but I went to your SoundCloud. When was it? Maybe weeks ago, months ago, however it was. And I think your top song, or you have a song with Suicide Boys. Am I wrong?
You're correct. You're correct. Yeah, I did a couple songs with them back in the day.
How did that come about?
I was on them early. Like I was dropping music on SoundCloud when I was still a teenager and all that. So like before they were even popping, like I would just chop it up with them. I had them added on Facebook. We were talking all that shit, and eventually we just wound up doing a song. And I only got like one like vocal collab with them, but like another song I have on a scrim beat. And yeah, like it just all kind of like came into place like that back in the day. Like we was just fucking with each other. I'm mad proud to see how far they came too, though. Like they're really good people.
Right.
They always show love and all that shit back in the day.
Oh yeah, that's what's up. I thought that was really fucking cool. It caught me off guard even when I had seen it because I was like, all right, Trumps or whatever. I seen you. First time I saw you was at some show in July. And originally I knew of you because you collaborated with No Real because I went to high school with him and like we remained like close friends and shit like that. And
Yeah, shouts
whatever.
out Noru.
Shouts out No Real. And I hadn't got the chance to really check out your discography at that time, you know. I followed you on the gram and then I checked it out more recently and I was like, oh shit, it caught me off guard. I was like, collaboration with Suicide Boys. Like nine times out of ten, the people, nine times out of ten, the people I interview here, when they do like that inspirations, oh, name people that really brought you to where you are. Like Suicide Boys makes it out of like 9 out of 10 of those lists, you know? So
There was definitely big inspirations on me too, just like the way they push their agenda and all that. Like they really just like laid the foundation down for a lot of underground heads. You feel me?
Right.
And like I feel like they never really like they just I don't know like they remained like with the underground sound and shit like that. Like they brought the underground sound to like a larger audience, and it's just like it's really cool to see.
No, yeah, exactly. Fucking, and I feel like even to a degree they blew up and they still kept like a grittiness that comes with the underground.
Exactly, yeah, like that always remained. I hate my song I have with them though. I think that song was garbage. I was
Y-
like, damn, how old was I when I made that, bro? I had to be like 16. I was just like smoking a skin fast blunt in my room. I freestyled that shit and I sent them the open. They sent the song back like the next day. And
Yeah,
like it's
man.
cool that I did a song with them. I wish the song was good. You feel me?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like you've come a long way, so it's definitely considered like early work, you know. And I think everyone kind of looks at their early work like, ah, could have been better, you know.
Exactly, yeah. But that's how you know you're improving, you feel me?
Right. No, yeah. So that's really fucking cool, and it's really cool. I think touching back on another thing that you've been doing this for quite a while, almost a decade. You know, most people I interview, they're
Yeah.
most people I interview, they started in during the pandemic, even like 2020, which is no,
Mhm.
no shame to that. It's a lot of like fucking like kids. Like I fucking interview like 17-year-olds and shit like that, so I can't expect them to start much earlier.
Yeah.
And but it's cool because you have like a sense of, I would say, what like mastership, veteranship. You know, like you have knowledge. You've been in the game, type shit.
I'm like Ebro.
Word. No, yeah, and I think that's really cool. And the fact that you've kept consistent and you've kept going since then is also really cool and really admirable. Speaking of
100%. I
which,
appreciate that.
yeah, I mean, what keeps you going through like the whole journey of music? Because I know there's ups and downs, and I ultimately not gave up on music because I do features for my friends and shit nowadays. But really, I was kind of like, you know what? I don't think I'm the most cut out for it, and I turned to the podcasting shit, and I enjoy this way more. But what
Sure.
helped you keep consistent and keep with the ups and downs and the creative fucking hardships of music?
Just like an overall strong ass passion for this shit. Like this is one of like the few things in my life that I've ever felt like I'm like good at basically. And
Right.
also on top of that, like I was rapping when I was in high school and shit, obviously. And like a lot of the kids in high school was just always giving me shit for it. Like I used to have like mobs following me down the hallways, just like trying to like ridicule me and all that. So like just an overall passion with a combination of just like trying to prove everybody wrong type shit. Like that's really what's kept me going. It's just like, nah, fuck y'all. I got this. You feel me?
No, yeah, right. I mean, fucking, I think that's like one of the greatest fucking fuels to the fire is like people doubting you and shit like that. That's how I function. People be like, you can't do this. I'm like, I bet. And then, it just adds a whole different, lights a whole fire up your ass, you know? So really cool.
Nah,
I,
facts. And it's like I'm obviously nowhere near where I want to be as far as like music shit goes, but I still feel like I proved like so many people wrong, regardless of the fact like I'm still not where I want to be. You feel me?
right. Which brings me to the question of where do you want to see yourself when it comes to like everything said and done? Like, because some people I feel like just want to be able to provide for themselves and like humble living off of music, but then obviously some people want to aim for fucking Grammys and like top notch shit. So where do you see yourself in the spectrum of success?
I just want to make it to a point where like not only I can provide for myself, but I could just provide for my people in general. You feel me? Like just be able to like provide like substantial livings just for everybody in my circle, like my fam, my friends, all that shit. Like I don't
Right,
necessarily want fame. Like I don't think I'm cut out to be famous. Like I have like a lot of social anxiety and shit like that. But just be able to make like a substantial living and help everybody out around me. Like that's the mission.
right. No, yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel you on that one. I mean, even like with anything I do, I'm like, yo, overall, I want to be known enough and good enough to where I'm good and my people are good and shit like that. So I feel you. It's definitely like a how would I even say it? Like a more humanitarian effort, trying to help people else out besides
Yeah,
only
facts.
yourself.
I just want to like bring people up. You feel me? Like I want to be able to inspire people and just like help motivate and just support people overall. Like not just like from a financial aspect, but just from the music in general as well.
Right,
Like
right.
just want to be able to just like do it all, just like for the people and shit. You know what I mean?
Exactly. No, yeah. I also want to ask about So you're from Long Island. Are you born and raised in Long Island, or you moved to Long Island? Are you originally from the boroughs? How'd that come? You're a New York native?
Long Island born and raised. Yeah, I've been out in Long Island my whole life.
How was that growing up and shit like that? Because honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I've probably been to Long Island like once in my life, and I've lived in New York for my whole life.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like some regular shit, I feel like. I mean, like Long Island is like the more suburb area. It's kind of like New York City is like the spot in between New York that's not suburban and regular as shit. I feel like so it's just typical suburban shit. I mean, like I had my struggles growing up and all that, but other than that, yeah, just like a regular upbringing for the most part. I've been like all around the island and shit, like couch hopping, all that shit. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
been all over this island.
No, yeah, I always like to ask about people's backgrounds in a sense like that, because obviously every state comes with its own like culture and shit like that, you know? People, so I've had people from
Yeah,
fucking Cali, from Washington, from down south, from up north, and I think what's cool about that is I feel 9 times out of 10, most artists and what they do in their music and their sound and even their image and their style will somehow reflect where they're from or some sort of twang that comes with, where their environment. So I always like to ask about that and shit like that. My
yeah,
last
not
guest,
100%.
my last guest was from North Carolina, but he moved to LA, so it was like a real doozy for me because I was like, holy shit, it's like polar opposites.
Oh yeah, not vast difference between those two spots. I've been to LA as well. LA is just like a whole different vibe.
Oh yeah, I can't imagine. I've never been to the West Coast. I've been all along the East Coast, all the way from here to fucking Florida and shit like that. But it's all relatively similar-ish.
Yeah, I mean LA is cool. It's got its own vibe to it, but other than that, like there's really not too many differences overall compared to other cities I've been to and whatnot. You feel me?
Right.
But LA is still cool. I think the food in LA sucks.
Yeah, I could only
I remember my
imagine.
first night in LA. Bro, my first night in LA, the homies ordered pizza. I'm like, oh. I already knew what I was getting myself into there. I'm like, oh, I know this is gonna be ass.
I've seen Twitter discourse
Cause like
over.
we New York, you feel me?
Yeah, 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 exactly. New York probably has the best pizza in the whole fucking world. One and two. I've seen Twitter
Oh,
discourse
for it.
about. I've seen Twitter discourse off of people discussing LA. Like what the fuck did they say? They were like, "Oh, like I'm having a chopped cheese from LA," and they were like, "Shit's ass."
Uh,
Yeah, like
I don't know why you would order a chopped cheese from LA.
yeah, like it's
Like,
just certain
why?
things.
Like, out of everything else you could get out there,
It's just certain things that's
it's
like
just like shit.
let it stay where it's from, or let it stay where they do it best type shit. So I couldn't imagine like yeah, it's like
Yeah, leave it in its native area.
yeah, exactly.
Nah, for real.
But I was also moving on. I wanted to ask about we discussed image in the first question, but I always like to talk about body mods and stuff like that. Like I'm a piercing guy, I'm a tattoo guy, and I always like to ask my guests who do have them and shit like that. Like which ones we have. Let's show them off, like a GQ tattoo tour. Why we got them, shit like that.
I
So
used to have my left ear pierced when I was young, but after the accident, I had to get the piercing taken out for the procedures, and I never got it re-pierced.
yeah,
I got my septum and my nostril pierced. I've had the nose ring for a little over a year. The septum ring I've had for a bit under a year. It's just like I have long hair, so I feel like there's not really much point in me getting my ears pierced because you can't even see my ears anyway unless I tie my hair back. And the
right,
only time I really have to tie my hair back is if like one, it's hot outside, which is November now, so I don't got to worry about that. And two, like if I'm in the shower and I'm not shampooing my hair that day, like that's like literally the only two occasions I'm tying my shit up.
right.
But aside from the two piercings, I got four tattoos. I got one on my upper arm here. It's like the first tattoo I got when I turned 18. Just like a crucifix with a tree on it.
All right.
I got a little moth on my wrist, like a skull moth. I got I got this one in Florida like 4 years back, just like a little crescent moon on my chest. And then obviously I got the big ass Traumster blasted on my stomach.
Yes. Which when I saw you in July and you were performing, I that was like the first big thing I noticed. Well, I was like, no, I know his name, fucking Traumster plastered on his stomach. I was like, all right, cool. So I
Exactly.
think it definitely works well for like marketing purposes as well. It's like, oh, I wonder who's fucking performing. It's like, you know,
Oh, they gonna know who the performer is.
right? Exactly.
Straight up.
So no, yeah, but I always like to ask about that because again, it also even goes to an environment thing. I feel like if you walk around the streets in New York, I mean, it depends on what borough you're in and what area you're in, but if you're like in the more fucking hood areas and shit like that, how often are you gonna see people with fucking septum and stretch whatever and da 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 and like so it's cool. It's fun.
Yeah,
It's fun.
nah, 100%. Yeah.
It's fun to ask
I
about.
mean, I feel like a lot of the piercings and stuff like I feel like a lot of the piercings and stuff like that are more common now, but I know what you're saying for sure.
Yeah, yeah, you know?
Like certain areas, you're not gonna, yeah, certain areas you're not gonna see people with like alternative piercings and shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, I came up in the Bronx, you know, and so I was always into the gauges and the piercings. I didn't start getting pierced until 2019, 2020. But
Mhm.
when I was younger and I was growing up, you know, it was like weirdo shit or like, oh, it's that white people shit, da da da. So, you know,
Yeah.
it's cool when you come from a state that, you know, again, it depends on what part you're from. Cause I can only imagine like certain parts of Brooklyn or Manhattan, people are like, fuck it, you know, like it's just the usual, but I don't know. It's
Nah,
cool.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice, dope as hell.
I wanted to ask about any project you've had or upcoming projects that you're working on, and we will also move into like other topics like that I have in mind. But mainly, I like to start off with albums, EPs, projects. Just talk a little bit about like your discography, even though I do like to discuss more so outside of music for artists on this podcast. But
Mhm.
it's a very obviously it's a music podcast, so it's a very big factor and part. So let's discuss it.
Facts. Well, I mean, like a lot of my early discography, I was just trying to like push out as many tapes and projects as I possibly could, because obviously, like the Lil B inspiration, that dude was dropping the mixtape like every single month, if not like two in a month.
Right.
So I try to kind of like just push that like level of consistency. But I don't know, like I feel like every single project I've dropped before 2021 is just like subpar to me. Like I feel like 2021, like just last year, is when like my sound really started to just like level up and just get to where I wanted it to be. So I started like after I changed my name to the Traumster, I dropped a tape called Big Papa Pump. I was wearing like the Scott Steiner headgear and
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
I had a little I had the little burner on me in the picture and shit like that. And it was just like a whole boom bap tape. So that's like what I was trying to do mainly at first, was like I just really wanted to show people like I could rap and shit. So I just dropped like a whole boom bap tape. A lot of people, like, it was really well received by a lot of listeners and shit. And then afterwards I was just like still dropping boom bap stuff, but then had a project drop last year, Pantry, entirely produced by Phony. And that was like a good amount of boom bap stuff, a lot of like alternative stuff, a little bit of auto tune, experimental shit on there.
Right.
And after that tape, I kind of just decided to just switch to the auto tune sound, because I finally found my singing voice that I've been like trying to practice for so long. And I just got nice with the auto tune. So I kind of just like I've been kept that sound going from there. But like I'm a very versatile artist, so it's like not easy for me to stick to one sound. Like I'll record a boom bap song the next day. Same day I'll do some auto tune shit. I might even hop on like some drill. Like you never know what I'm about to hop on.
Right. Which again, I think we
Just like
definitely
as far as like sound and shit.
no. Go ahead. I didn't
Like
mean to
just like
cut
as
you off.
far as like the sound and shit. Nah, you chill, my fault. But yeah, nah, just like as far as like just like the sound progression and shit like that, like the sky's the limit for me. Like I'll still just like experiment or whatever I can.
Right.
My favorite album I've ever made was the one I dropped in August called Trenchalicism. And that's like a wide range of just like auto tune stuff, regular trap shit, a couple boom bap songs on there. And a lot of it like I feel like the first half of that tape was just like a lot of like hard shit. Then like the second half of that tape was like more mellow, melodic, some personal shit. And I just like worked like a really long time on that album. So that's definitely the album I'm the proudest of. As far as like shit that I got like in the works as far as projects go, I got like damn man. Got like three projects like I'm working on slowly but surely. I'm trying to like
Simultaneously.
take my time to make sure everything's good. They're all collab tapes too, like all collabs with my homies. I'm not gonna say who they're with yet. Like you'll see. It's all people I collaborate frequently with though, so it's not like too much of a surprise factor.
Right. 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 No, yeah, well, definitely gatekeep the details to a degree and like let it have some oomph, let it have some surprise, let it have some anticipation built up, you know?
Add a little suspense, you feel me?
Exactly. So no, yeah, I do like to discuss that because when it comes to projects, I feel like that's like the real showcase, like artists get to showcase themselves, I feel like the most with projects because singles here and there, yeah, they're cool and they'll show your sound, they'll show who you are, but a project kind of like has character of its own, you know? It's like a child.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm a sucker for a good full length project. Because I grew up listening to full length projects. Like nowadays, a lot of music listeners don't got like a very sharp attention spans to just follow up and listen to like a whole project start to finish. But that's what I grew up on. So that's like the type of shit I enjoy doing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I mean, yeah, when I was younger and I was like really finding my own music identity, it was like you just press like the first you press the first song of an album and you just let it go, and and then like for whatever artist, and then you fucking
Exactly.
the next album, and just really, people nowadays, yeah, especially like with the whole like social media generation, the whole TikTok generation, it's like they'll hear just one song from an artist, they won't really give a fuck about the artist, they'll listen to that one song and then that's it. People aren't
Yeah,
really,
it's it from there.
yeah, they're growing up in a different era, different time, so I feel you. But
Yeah, 100%.
no, yeah, that's cool, and I'm glad we got to touch on any future upcoming projects because anyone who watches this now obviously will be anticipating that and looking forward to that. But however this ages and whoever in the future, any Traumster fans in the future will be like, watch this now and see where your mindset was then for albums that have been long established and long put out and shit like that. So
For
it's always
sure.
it's always a fun question, you know?
Yeah, nah,
Um
100%.
Keeping with the theme of asking about discography and asking about things like that, I like to talk about music videos and visuals. Any music videos you've put out, if you have any, or anything you have in the works, in the plans, in your head, anything.
I'm hoping to get a lot more videos done in the near future because like I'm really just trying to push like I don't know, I need more visual representative. Like I have like a handful of music videos to sell, but like I just want to like keep pushing. I did just drop two music videos in the past couple weeks. One with my boy Reeds November, shot by our boy Gianni, and just did another video for my song White Traveler, Trenchalicism, shot and edited by my boy Fuck Poji. Poji does most of my videos. He shoots and directs and edits them all. Mad talented. He makes music too. His music's fire. But
Shout
yeah,
out.
definitely just trying to lock, hopefully like a lot more music videos in the future. It's just I got too many songs, so it's kind of hard to pick and choose what songs I want to do videos for sometimes.
Right. No, yeah, and that's really cool. I mean, I saw a preview of one of your videos, and I think it was
Excuse me.
which one was it? I don't know, but it was recent. Like you put it out recently, and I had seen the preview for that, and I had yet to check it out fully, but I will. And I really
Might have
like.
been might have been Whitechapel. It was the one I was like in like the full mask and shit.
I think so.
Yeah, that was Whitechapel, yeah.
Yeah. So number one, which I'm not gonna lie, like being a wrestling fan, the first thing I thought of when I saw that angle and everything, I thought of the Shockmaster, the fucking
Yeah, nah, I feel you.
so like the interview-esque fucking camera angle. It was funny. But no, overall seeing it, I was very intrigued. I was like, holy shit, you know? I always like to see visuals accompany music and music accompany visuals. You know, it works with movies and soundtracks and stuff like that. But when independent artists take their creative vision and they put it into something outside of their realm, outside of their like little department or whatever, I always
Facts.
appreciate that. I always think that's really fucking dope.
Hell
I
yeah, nah,
mean,
that shit's always fire.
when you come up with an idea for a video, how does that summon? What's the creative process behind a Traumster music video?
Um, kind of just always kind of do it off the bat. Like I'll find like a day I link up with like my homie Poji or whoever else I'm doing a video with. Kind of just like pick a song. I might think about it a little bit like the day before and like what kind of like fit I'm gonna wear and shit like that. But other than that, like everything's kind of just usually like right off the bat. Just do a video here, boom,
Right.
get it edited within like a week or two, and then just put it out.
Hell yeah.
So it's not really like too much thought, not really like too much thought process involved. Just me trying to just like add a visual, you know what I mean?
Right.
Just like
Yeah,
bring
no.
like something to light.
Well, yeah, especially if you're quick with it, you have the idea fresh, the vision fresh, and you just put it into your video and you work on it as quick as possible, and it really captures that time period and that and what you were feeling and what you were seeing within that moment. So I think that's really cool.
For sure, for
Um,
sure.
Definitely, which makes me take a step back to how does a Traumster project album EP come together? Is it like, hey, I'm just making a couple songs and they sound good together, so I'm gonna put them together, but I had no intention of making them an album? Or is it like a full length like thing, like track one to track whatever, and it's like this is gonna be an album and work on only that album, you know?
I usually like I record music almost every single day, so I kind of just like pick and choose what songs would just sound good like on their own or what sound songs I can like send to like whichever producer produced it. And sometimes like I like to have my producers upload songs I do with them on their pages and stuff like that. Like you'll see me do that a lot with Phony, obviously. My boys Matthias, Caden Bobaden, Otto. Like they'll post songs I did on their pages. But honestly, sometimes, yeah, it just kind of comes about like what you just said. Like I have like a handful of songs. They kind of just coincide, and then I kind of just like not always like prioritize making a project off rip with those songs, but I'll definitely like keep that thought in the back of my head. It really just kind of depends what I'm trying to like push out at the moment.
Right.
Like currently, like I've dropped like 5 tapes this year, so I'm not really rushing to make another project at this moment.
Yeah.
Although I just said I'm working on 3 collab projects at the same fucking time, but you know how it is. Like I'm not focusing like next solo Traumster project is not like a priority. That's probably not gonna come out to like maybe spring and next year, some shit.
Right. I mean,
Just
that's
kind of just
still
kind of like really depends. Like I gotta see like what kind of songs I record in those upcoming months, and then just kind of see what I want to do from there.
right. Yeah, I mean that's still really good fucking consistency. I mean, 5 projects within we're not even done with the year. We're in October. So
Yeah,
that's what, a project every 2 months?
damn near, yeah.
So that's really good
Like I wasn't even
consistency.
gonna drop a project. Like I wasn't even gonna drop a project last month, really, and I just kind of decided, I'm gonna drop a project on my birthday. Boom, uploaded that,
Yeah, which I saw
and
I saw go ahead.
that was just like a handful of like the best songs I made within those past 2 months between that tape and Trench Alicism. So I'm like, fuck it, boom,
Boom. Yeah, I saw the marketing and stuff for
yeah.
that, like you promoting it and stuff, the promo for it all, which definitely after this interview, I will full-fledged dive into your discography because that's usually how it works with this is like I'll interview someone, I'm like, oh yeah, they're really fucking dope. Boom, listen to the whole thing, binge it, keep moving.
Oh
So that's
yeah,
very exciting. But
no doubt.
what was I gonna ask? Speaking of promotion and marketing, because with any project you have to market and promote, but moving away from that into another department of marketing and promoting, which is any sort of vision or any sort of existing merchandise for the Traumster merchandise, shirts, mugs, I don't know, anything.
I had a couple merch collections with Phony drop earlier this year for the 2 tapes we dropped. We dropped a collab album called Funkster and then dropped a deluxe edition called Funkster Deluxe. And we had like some hoodies, shirts. We even had like some socks and hats out and shit. I had a merch collection for my album I dropped last year called Pipe Mirror as well. Um, my thing is right now, like I want my next merch drop to like just blow those out the water. So I'm really like trying to just take my time and think like what kind of merch designs I want to do, like colorways, overall designs on the merch itself.
Right,
Like the next Traumster merch drop, like it's got to be some vintage shit. It's got to be some
right.
crazy shit.
Yeah, I got to put some like real like effort and creative vision into it. I mean, when it comes to making merch and stuff like that, how does that come about? Like, is it like looking for a manufacturer, or do you do it all in your own like DIY type shit?
It is kind of like um DIY type shit, I guess you could say. Like I have Phony help me a lot with like the designs, and he has like this one like distributor that he has that just like pumps out merch, and you just collect like a certain percentage, and the other percentage goes to that company.
Right,
So I usually have Phony help me out a lot with the merch. It's just I don't know, like next merch job gonna be all Traumster,
that's what's up.
and it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be next level. Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
man. Especially with like more established artists that I have on the podcast, I do like to ask about that because it's a whole different department outside of music. But again, I'm a tattoo guy. I'm a disc guy. I'm a clothes guy. I like clothes. So when it comes to like merchandise and shit like that, and like discussing it and visions for it, I like to discuss it.
Facts. Oh
Mm.
yeah.
Speaking of merch, I know we often enough do live performances and live shows. I mean, that's how I found you. I found you at a show, and I can only assume you have like. Do you ever put merch out for shows? Because I feel like that's always a good way. Like, hey, I just performed. You fuck with my shit? Buy a T-shirt.
I've never done a merch drop at a concert yet. Nah, like I've only ever really done a select few handful of merch drops. Like I just dropped my first line of merch like 2 years ago, and then just like late last year is when I started dropping a few more with Phony.
Right.
But nah, it's definitely a good idea. I do want to do that in the future. Just like have my own table set up at a show and just sell merch there. because I always have like eyes on me. Like I don't know, like everybody tells me I just got like that crazy stage presence and all that. So nah, it's definitely a good like marketing way for sure.
right? And it's also, a little side hustle, a little bit of money made. But it's good that you mentioned stage presence and stuff like that because with performers who have performed live shows, because not every artist I have on here has. A lot of artists here just operate on the internet right now and stuff like that. But for those who have, I always like to ask about that when it comes to what even inspires or fuels your stage presence and tries to, what makes you stand out to a crowd, what makes you have good crowd control, the whole psychology behind performing live. Just give us the rundown for the Traumster.
I mean, I already got the Traumster image. You see like a big husky dude just going crazy on stage with his shirt off. I feel like that's just gonna captivate anybody, you feel me? But yeah, I just always try to just like have that crazy looking image going or performance and just bring the energy, and usually the crowd just reciprocates it back. So that's just
Right.
how I rock.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean it's dope. It's definitely I mean everything that I mentioned is definitely a skill within itself, whether it's fucking albums, videos, anything of the sort. But when it comes to captivating an audience and being dominant enough to really assert yourself in front of an audience is a whole different skill within itself, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. You just gotta have that confidence and that energy.
right.
Pardon me. Smoked a little too much yesterday, so I'm a little congested right now.
No, it's all good. I mean, I can't even pick up smoking like that. It was so funny. I was having a conversation the other day. I was like, yo, even when it's a habit for me, I don't even consider myself a smoker. Like it's really hard for me to pick it up. So I don't smoke.
Yeah, no, I respect that. I've been smoking weed for like 10 years. I used to be a heavy cigarette smoker. I quit cigarettes a year ago.
That's what's up.
I was smoking cigarettes for like 5 years, but I just quit that a year ago.
That's what's up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I fucking
Yeah.
I've never smoked a cig in my life. I had like these like herbal cigarettes that were like, it was like no nicotine, no
Oh, like the CBD
preservatives.
shits?
Yeah, it was like CBD, tobacco, a bunch of like fucking plants and shit, but they were too expensive. I was like, fuck this. So
Yeah, that shit sounds stupid.
yeah, I was like, it's like supposed to relax you and shit like that, but I was like, bro, I'll just fucking if I'm spending this much on herbal cigarettes, I might as well just buy like a little fucking like ounce and keep it moving. Like,
That is. Nah, that's a fact. But
but
yeah, nah, I love my weed.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, everyone I know fucking smokes. Like everybody, like grandmas and aunties and everything. So it's
Oh,
just
hell
kind
yeah.
of it's something I can't fucking escape, you know. So it's cool. But
Yeah, nah, facts.
I wanted to discuss something outside of music or anything in general. One of your big hobbies or something you've been a fan of for a while is pro wrestling. I'm a big wrestling dude.
Oh, yeah.
I I got into wrestling. I mean, like later on in my childhood when I was like 8 and shit like that. Wasn't more so when I was younger, but. I still consider myself a fucking giant like mark, I guess, whatever. I have the magazines, the figures, the video games, all that shit. I have this fucking belt over here.
Hell
And
yeah.
like what got Traumster into the wrestling? Name us your favorite wrestlers, favorite matches, like just full dive into it. Something you and I could bounce off really off each other.
It's always such a hard question to answer because there's so many. One of my favorite recent matches from the past like year two was it's on the NXT pay-per-view. It was the Ilya Dragunov versus Walter match for the title where Ilya won the belt and that shit. That match was fucking crazy.
You know what? That's so crazy you mentioned that because I don't follow NXT that much. My friend does though, and I got my friend into wrestling like 2 years ago, and he follows that shit way more than I do. But no, yeah, that's fucking dope. I mean, would you even
I
recommend like
usually
NXT?
link up with my boys like every Tuesday night.
Continue,
Yeah,
yeah,
usually
yeah.
like every Tuesday night I link up with my boys and we all watch NXT. And like it's pretty dope. Sometimes like it's corny, like a lot of the new guys are just like, but sometimes it's some good shit. It's just entertaining.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you enjoy it more than like the weekly shows and shit like that, like Raw and shit?
Honestly, sometimes I do, yeah, because Raw just be dragging it sometimes with that 3 hour length, bro. Like sometimes I don't want to sit there and watch Raw for 3 hours. Just kind of
Right,
drags it sometimes.
right. No, yeah. I've been enjoying the fucking program recently with the whole bloodline shit and stuff like that. Especially like with the new direction it's taken since Vince McMahon left. I'm like, hey, that's fucking, they've been doing some cool shit.
Nah, the Bloodline storyline is dope, and it's just like it's really unpredictable how it's gonna go too. So that's why like it they're just keeping it interesting. They're doing really good with that now, especially since like they started incorporating all the new dudes in the group too, like Solo and Sami Zayn and shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Overall, though, I want to know the Traumsters' top 5 favorite wrestlers of all time.
Jeff Hardy,
All right.
RVD,
All right.
Kasha Okada,
All right.
New Japan. That's 3. I gotta name 2 more. Shit, man. Stone Cold, obviously. And if I gotta pick one more, man, I gotta pick one more. Not really like that great of a wrestler, but he's just so fucking hilarious. I gotta put him on there. I gotta put my boy Scott Steiner. That's my top 5.
Yeah, man. Fucking Scott Steiner. What was it?
I mean, Scott Steiner in the '90s he was killing it. Like 2000s, not so much, but like anytime you see Scott Steiner on TV, you know he's about to pop off and say some wild out of pocket shit. It's just lit.
Yeah, I mean, my big thing when I think of Scott Steiner is the fucking Steiner mathematics, the fucking Steiner math. So that's
Oh
just some
yeah.
fucking
The,
quite a character.
the numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you as sacrifice. You feel me?
No, yeah. Shit.
That's it.
Fucking. No, yeah, man. I mean, I took a break from wrestling though, and I don't know, man. Like when it was like from 2015 to like 2020, 2021 even, like I did not watch at all. I didn't keep up with it,
Or,
nothing.
I mean, there was a period of time during like around those years for me, like I would say roughly like 2013 through 2018. Like I wasn't avidly watching it, but I would always like keep up with it on social media and shit like that, just to keep tabs on what's going on, like what matches are good, which wrestlers I should be following and shit.
Right. Yeah, I mean, even today, like within now, like I really don't. It's hard for me to like really sit down and watch Raw or SmackDown. I really will just go on Twitter and see what happened. Same thing with AEW. Like I'll just watch Dynamite,
Facts.
and I'm just like, all right, I'll just go on my phone and see what's going on. I just watch the pay-per-views, to be honest with
Uh,
you.
hell yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard to keep up with all of it sometimes. Like I'd be a busy dude.
Yeah,
I work full time. I make music like almost every day. Like sometimes I can't like sit down and watch it like every single day, like just like dedicated to it. You know what I mean?
right, exactly. Which it's kind
Yeah.
of, I think that's why like it becomes super niche eventually because like unless you're a diehard fan, it's really hard to keep up. Like if you're just a casual fan who catches it on TV, 9 times out of 10, you're really not gonna like watch or keep up with it.
Exactly. Like you're gonna see like some dope matches, but you're not really gonna like be able to really like know what's going on with certain storylines and like what's going on, like what's gonna happen like next week and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Right. No, yeah. So
Which I feel like
definitely,
storylines are just super crucial.
right.
Like always like a
Exactly.
good storyline. So like,
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like keeping up with like weekly television, but then again, people don't even do that. Like unless you're like Netflix, most people binge watch nowadays. People don't really wait for weekly things. People don't
yeah,
even watch cable anymore.
facts. Like I can't sit there and binge watch a show though. Like I feel like I'm just wasting my time doing that shit. I could be doing like something more productive. But that's just me personally.
I can't binge watch anything. Like I could binge watch if
Like
I'm
my
with.
my eyes gonna burn.
Yeah, I can't binge watch alone. I could binge watch with a friend or like my girl. Like I binge watched that Dahmer shit. I binge watched most of Breaking Bad with my best friend. But by myself, to sit here and put my attention towards a show for the whole day or whole 2 days, I can't. I got a
Nah,
podcast to
facts.
run. I got shit to do. I got a fucking house to maintain. Like, come on,
Nah, for real. That's funny you mentioned Breaking Bad too, because everybody's been pressing me to watch it. And I've only ever watched like the first episode way back in the day. And like I heard like the first season's like a little bit slow. I'm not really too big of a fan of like slow starts and shit like that. Like I kind of want to just like see shit pop off as soon as possible. Like
I
really keep me intrigued in something.
I would have to disagree with that with anyone saying that it's slow in the beginning. I think season 1 and season 2 are probably like the best seasons before it gets like super deep into shit.
Well, this is
Um,
like what 1 or 2 people told me, like based off like the first season or two. Like
right.
I've never watched it myself, like in full, like full, like mind you. But
Right.
like, I don't know. I've had like way too many people tell me, "Oh, Traumster, watch Breaking Bad, dude. You gotta watch Breaking Bad, dude. You have to watch it." And I just haven't watched it. I ain't had the time to do that yet.
Man, it's probably one of my favorite shows, if not my favorite show of all time, and I think it's fucking dope. It's really cool, you know? It's just like it's funny because it has comedic elements towards the beginning. And really if you think about it, it's just two white dudes trapping like the whole time, like
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
in the middle of fucking the West. I'm just like, it's just a funny show. It's cool.
Yeah. Facts.
So I would recommend it. Better Call Saul, I've had a hard time getting into, which is like spin-off of Breaking Bad. I can't get into it. It's too slow in the beginning. Like that's a slow show in the beginning.
Is that what that is? Like, it's supposed to be a spinoff?
Yeah, it's I think Better Call Saul is like a predecessor, like a prequel almost to like Breaking Bad. But
Mm, okay.
it's more so about their lawyer, and then yeah.
Word. Okay. I didn't know that the two like went in some type of like chronological order, something like that. I thought it was like two separate entities.
Yeah, no. I mean, Better Call Saul eventually, from what I've heard, because I've never watched it, it just eventually like some of it goes into the Breaking Bad storyline, so they overlap kind of.
Mm.
But fucking people praise the shit out of both, so I would recommend Breaking Bad. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Nah, for sure.
I mean, what is? Do you have like a favorite TV show, favorite movie?
Um, recently on YouTube, like some dude's been uploading mid full length episodes of Boondocks, so I've been watching that in my free time a lot. Um, I was never really too big of a movie person. I was into anime heavy back in the day. Like I was big fans of certain animes. Like I was like a big Naruto fan. I liked Parasite the Maximum. What else? What else? I remember like when I was a young and I was binge watching Future Diary. I like the Kill the Kill. Shit, there was a bunch of others I was watching, but those are like the first four that like come to mind.
I've never been
They
like
dropped like recently on Netflix like a couple months ago. They dropped like a Tekken anime. It's like 6 episodes. It was pretty fire actually.
yeah, I fucking I mean I've never been much of a big anime guy, but when I did like ever watch it, it was like I tried watching Attack on Titan, but I stopped. I watched Death Note in full. I
Those two
watched
are fire.
Yeah, I watched the first season of One Punch Man and I really enjoyed that.
One
Eh,
Punch Man was fire. I never made it past the first season though either, so I couldn't
Yeah.
tell you any more about that.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the first season like on a vacation and like God knows what year that was. And then after that, after they took forever to release season 2, and after that I was already like older and I was like, okay, you
Yeah,
know.
right. It's just like whatever at that point.
Yeah, I don't even remember the first season that well, so why am I gonna go watch the second one? I'd have to go rewatch the whole first season and really like recap my memory.
Exactly. Like shit, we ain't got time for that.
Exactly. But when it comes to you mentioned Boondocks, and when it comes to like older cartoons and shit, or like more adult oriented cartoons, I've always been like a real big Beavis and Butthead guy.
Me too. I love Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
I haven't watched the new movie yet. I know they just recently came out with a new movie.
I haven't watched a new movie yet, and they have a new series. Like they rebooted it pretty much, and I haven't watched that yet either.
They rebooted the series again.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Yeah, I didn't know about that. I gotta
So
check that out.
yeah, it's all like on Paramount. I mean, I have like a whole DVD set of like the one from the 90s, you know?
Yeah.
But so for it to come back is pretty cool. But yeah, you know?
Nah,
Is
facts.
Yeah, I mean, fucking what am I gonna say? Like, would you consider Boondocks like your favorite of all time?
In my top five for sure, but like I can't even really think of a top five because it's just like I don't really sit and like avidly watch shows like that. So it's really hard for me to tell. And like a lot of the shows that I was heavily into, it's been a hot minute since I watched them. So like my memory of basically like just everything in general regarding those is like not all there.
Right. You know, and it's funny because we're
But yeah,
speaking.
nah, I was always a big like cartoon dude.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
definitely
yeah.
always like a big cartoon dude. Like I would like King of the Hill, shit like that, like Family Guy.
Right. Yeah, no. I always found I always found cartoons more captivating than like regular shit, and that might be from like a childlike mindset, whatever. But even to this day, like I don't know. I'm a man of simple needs and simple wants and simple shit.
Exactly. You already know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
That's the way.
speaking of other forms of media, movies, shows, whatever the fuck it may be, is there any inspiration that integrates into Traumster's music or discography that comes from anything of the sort, whether it's books, shows, TV shows, anything outside of music itself.
Yeah, I mean, you listen to like my discography and shit. Like, I'll always drop like very subtle references to like shows, movies, video games, shit I used to like be into back in the day. Like, I always try to just like drop a little punchline here and there just based off that shit. Like, you was into the same shit I was. You hear that, you're like, oh, he just said that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, no, I mean, I pretty much kind of like I try to draw inspiration from everything, like real life aspects. Try to like digest media, like just kind of like try to take everything as like inspiration to some certain extent, just to like really just boost the vocabulary in the music and really just like captivate the listeners and all that shit.
No, yeah, right, exactly. I mean, yeah, no, I always appreciate it when people do that, whether they mention shows, movies, sports, anything of the sort into their music. Because I feel like for some, like, oh yeah, like they'll glance over it and move on, like the average listener. But for the people who are in tune with certain things, it makes it like a whole different like thing of cleverness and like a whole different
Yeah,
understanding, like reading in between the lines, you know?
exactly. Like it always just like makes me want to hear more from the person who said that,
No, yeah, exactly.
rather than somebody that's just saying some regular shit that I've heard in like nine other songs before.
Right. But it also gives you a reflection of the artist and their interests, you know? If they're not if they have enough knowledge to make a bar about it or whatever it may be, you know, it makes, knowledgeable about it. It's like, oh shit, like this person's into that. I'm into that too.
Yeah, exactly. Like they drop like a good witty punchline on some shit that like I have a similar interest in. Like that just makes me like more intrigued by that artist. Like I want to hear more from that person because like damn, like we're in the same shit. That's dope. Like I always found shit like that cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I people don't really discuss that in music. People kind of drop those bars and they move along, but I'm like, hey, let's discuss it, shed light on it. I think it's cool. Um,
That's why like a while back, like a year ago, I was like very heavily into like West Side Gun because he's like a huge pro wrestling fan, just like the references and the song titles and shit like that.
yeah.
It's just like, damn, nah, like this
Yeah.
is dope. Like I
I
fucked with that.
I checked out West Side Gun's discography fairly recently, even mainly because I had seen him on AEW and I knew he was a big wrestling fan. And then I started getting these TikToks that would like kind of like make fun of like how he rapped with the ad libs and shit like that. And like,
Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, all that shit.
yeah, boo boo boo. So it unironically got me into his music and it was kind of funny. But yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like someone like that. I mean, I've recently gotten into fucking Babytron and he makes couple basketball and wrestling references in his fucking line bars and shit. So
He be referencing anything. Baby Tron's fire.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's funny because some people are like, oh, Babytron's trash, da 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 da. But I personally think he's cool.
Anybody who says that Baby Tron is trash just never listened to his music like more than like one or two songs.
Right.
They probably never heard any songs aside from like the shit that he drops with the videos where he's just rapping on like 20 different mainstream beats in the same song. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they probably never heard anything besides that. It's just like you really listen to Babytron, like that man's like references and just overall like his multi-syllable work and everything. Like he can rap his ass off for real.
Yeah, man. And I was like,
Like people don't give him enough credit for that.
for sure. And I've never been like too big of a lyricism guy, or like I've never been a big guy who like focuses on lyricism and like emphasizes it. But I really do always appreciate it when it comes to people's music, like really putting that effort and having like double entendres and all these different metaphors and analogies and shit that you have to really think about to understand, you know?
Yeah, like that's the type of hip hop music I grew up on was like that type of shit right there. So like I appreciate all forms of the genre, but like I'm a sucker for good lyricism. You know what I mean? Like that's just what I grew up on personally. So to see people like still carrying like that same mentality, like it's always like definitely a breath of fresh air because I try incorporating the same stuff into my music. Even my bangers, like try to hit the syllables, like make people want to listen and shit.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's cool because I feel like a big demographic of people kind of find like lyricism or like good lyricism in rap corny now. Like, people make fun of Eminem, people make fun of whatever, like, or like even like older rap and shit like that. And people are like,
Mhm.
ain't nobody want to hear that shit anymore. But there are rappers who carry good elements of lyricism who also like have a swag to it and make it cool in the modern day, you know?
Exactly. Like people just like really haven't dove deep into other people's music and shit like that to really like be able to come to that conclusion yet. You feel me?
No, yeah. And I think it's still very widespread, more than people think or ever like portray it to be. Like I know like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, SoundCloud rap, da da da. It's not about lyricism anymore. It's just about whatever the fuck. But I mean, even if you listen to mainstream artists, like I don't know, I'm not a fan of Drake, but I've heard some of his shit recently, like with this new album that he dropped with 21. And he has a lot of wordplay that gives you a little bit of time to like really like think into it and like, oh shit, like or
I'm not the biggest Drake fan either, but like I'll never disrespect the man. You feel me? Like if you think about it, he's like pretty much like the biggest modern day artist we got. You feel me?
yeah, like again, yeah. I mean, it's funny because I've been watching I watched Degrassi with my girl here and there, like the old series, like from like fucking the last like 10, 20 years. And Drake was on it, and it's
My
so
sister
funny.
used to watch that. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
Drake
I
was
remember like I remember like 2 years later, I like hear this dude Drake, and then like I look at him, I'm like, wait, isn't this the dude in the wheelchair off the grassy? I'm like, what the fuck?
yeah. And it's so funny watching his character in that show and watching him act. Cause like, bro, like this dude really grew up to be the biggest fucking rapper that we probably have in the modern day. And it's just so funny
Literally.
because like he portrays himself as like, however he portrays himself now today, like he's like, I don't know, I guess like this hotshot is really like cool dude. It's like, bro, you were like really acting like 20 years ago.
Yeah, for real. Like
But
shit, it's just Drake to me.
it's just Drake. Yeah.
It's just Drizzy.
Yeah, it's not Jimmy Brooks, it's just Drake. But
For real.
no, yeah, but going back to the conversation of lyricism and stuff, yeah, there's a bunch of rappers. I mean, if you listen to fucking, I don't know, I love music, man. So I'll listen to anything, fucking whether I'll mainly when it comes to recently too, like I'll listen to not on my own time. I have an uncle who's really into like the different sorts of fucking drill and like real like gangster shit, like of the modern day, like shit that I've never heard of that I don't see people talk about, because he's from Florida and that's a whole different demographic. And like I'll listen there to this like the most like hood fucking talking about whatever the fuck, killing, trapping, whatever the fuck it is. And I'm just here thinking and I'm just like listening to it and like there is a lot of lyricism that people do not even know is still out there because it's just like a certain it caters to a certain demographic.
Exactly. And like the crowd that it caters to, like that type of music is like the type of crowd that's not really going to pick up on that because they're not like you said, reading in between the lines, paying enough attention to that type of shit.
No, yeah, and even if they do, they're not gonna go out into the public and like be like, "Yo, so and so's album so far" because they did this on Twitter. They're gonna like appreciate it within themselves and move on. Like, so when it comes to like the
Yeah,
public eye,
yeah,
people
that's it.
yeah, when it comes to the public eye, people definitely overlook how much talent there still is out there. People are so nihilistic about music today and how
Yeah,
much
nah, for sure.
especially the older generation. Oh, rap music back in the day used to be fire. This rap music sound now is ass. Da da da.
I mean, shit, everybody wants to be a fucking critic, bro. Like, you enjoy something, you enjoy it. That's how I look at it. Like, I'm not gonna knock nobody for enjoying like a certain artist,
Right.
unless it's like R. Kelly or some shit. Then I'm gonna knock you for it. But other than that, then yeah.
Yeah, I would hope anyone would knock a fucking R. Kelly fan. I don't even think there should be R. Kelly fans
Oh
anymore.
yeah, nah, there shouldn't.
Terrible. But overall
Crazy.
this leads us to sort of a wrap up, I guess. And before I ask the final question, I do like to ask, because this is your interview at the end of the day, so I do like to ask any corner, crevice, anything of the Traumster that I did not cover that we should discuss before we end our interview.
I think we pretty much discussed all the basics and necessities. So shit.
Yeah, man. I mean, we discussed everything from appearance to discography to videos to merchandising to interest to hobbies to shows, whatever the fuck. So I think we've covered a lot of good ground, and I was very happy to have you on here and have such an entertaining episodes discussing all different forms of media and shit like that.
Hell yeah, gang. Thank you for having me, bro.
Yes, sir. So this leads us to the final question, which is pretty much the Trumpster. What do you have going on in the next day, week, month, year, decade, millennium, century, however you want to put it, at all? It could be outside of music. It could be what you're eating for breakfast tomorrow. Just go for it. Give us what we got going on.
Shit. Later today, I'm gonna wash my sheets, fuck up some Chinese food, finish some songs. This Saturday, shouts out my boy on Flex. He's from DMV area. He's got a show out here in Long Island, random as fuck. Finally hyped to meet my boy though. That shit's crazy to me. And yeah, it's just like a lot of upcoming work that everybody can look forward to in the future. You know, Traumster don't ever start grinding, you heard?
Yes, sir. No, yeah, very exciting. I always like to ask about the future because again, it goes like people watching this now will be like, "Oh shit, we have something to look forward to from the Traumster," but then also people
Yeah,
5 years from now who are Traumster fans are gonna be like, "Oh wow, this was like what he was doing in this time and place," you know. So
facts.
very cool. It's like a time capsule, a timestamp. So overall,
Exactly.
I was very happy to have you. This leads us to the final wrap up, which is this was the Cult Personality Podcast hosted by yours truly, Mikeymcchoppa. With us today was the Traumster. Thank you again.
Hey,
Thank you again for staying with me for about an hour. Thank you guys for listening on Spotify, Apple Music, whatever it may be for an hour, or watching on YouTube. And overall, yeah. Happy Mikey Monday. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next week.